Today I'm back on the 2007 Hyundai Entourage, my wife's car. She complained that the air conditioner quit working, and what happened was neither one of the cooling fans underneath this cover and shroud back here, these two fans, neither one of those is turning on when the AC button is pressed. Normally when the AC button is pressed and the light is on in the AC button, then those fans will both turn. Doesn't matter about temperature or anything, those will turn. Also, if the engine gets up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and on this car, they may be different for different years, but for 2007 and this particular car, when it gets up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, then the fans kick on to cool down the water for the engine. Neither one of those is happening anymore. Something has died. So the first thing you're going to want to do is check the fuse. It's in the fuse box here. You have to pull this unit up if it's equipped. This is an limited edition, so it may be specific to limited editions. But you pull that out if you have it, and it's going to be this blue fuse here, this 15 amp. Check to make sure it's not blown. Mine is not blown, it's good. Next thing you're going to want to check is the relay. On my car, and I think the location varies slightly, but on my car, the relay is bolted to the top bolt right here. Well, see if I can get the focus. That's it right there on top. Okay, so that's my next step. I'm going to take this apart so I can remove that and check it on the bench. The third thing you're going to want to do then, if that checks out, is replace the cooling control module that's held on two bolts. One of the bolts of which is this relay here is being held by. That is what I think is bad. There's a connector, or any of the connectors really can break easily on this, so be very careful when handling it. One of mine was broken. I had to solder a wire to get past that, because the relays, or I'm sorry, the connector for that one wire is $100, which is ridiculous. So I just put a generic, 25-cent one there. And that's something I need to check. Maybe that got too hot. Maybe it wasn't big enough or high enough duty for that usage, and maybe it burned up. So that'll be another thing I check. But just visually looking at it, it looks fine. All right, so let me get busy here. I need to remove this beauty cover first, and then I'll be removing only the module. I'm not going to take the fan out. So I've got the beauty cover off. I debated whether to remove this bracket. I may do it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But right now it looks like I have enough room, at least to get to the relay, which is right here. Yeah. See if I can see it from here. Nope. Hold on a second. Okay, so this is the relay here, and it's bolted in. It's attached to a bracket bolted to the top bolt of the cooling, the fan control module. Sorry, the cooling fan control module. All right, so this is just a little plastic, or I'm sorry, rubber little thing that you push the relay in. It pulls right out. Okay, with a little effort, I guess. Pulls out, so now it's loose, and I can disconnect it from the wiring, take it in, and test it. So I just wanted to comment a little bit about this relay now that I've got it out here in the open. This relay, its sole purpose is to supply 12 volts power to the control module, down to the fan control module. So if this is bad, then definitely the fan control module won't get power and it will not work. So this definitely is a candidate if you've got no fans at all. And it's a single contact, right? So if one contact dies, you're done. It doesn't have backups. The wires coming out of this, one goes directly to the battery essentially, and the other goes to the control module. Well, the one that goes to the control module is a single gang connector. In other words, there's one contact there. That's the one that breaks the most easily, I guess, because it gets hot since it's power. Power's flowing through it. So as soon as you touch it, it's going to disintegrate with a car this old. So just be prepared for that. So in my case, I didn't want to pay the $100 for another connector. I soldered a wire directly to the control module and added my own connector. And you can see that connector down here. This wire here is going to the 5-volt supply of the controller. And there's my connector. Now you'll notice I did a double contact connection there to give it a better chance of survival. This looks good. It doesn't look burnt or melted or anything, so I think I'm okay. One other comment about the relay. If you're not working by yourself, you can get somebody to start the car and turn on and off the air conditioner a few times, and you can hold this and feel and see if it's clicking. If it's clicking, at least it's actuating. But that doesn't tell you if the contacts are good or not. It just tells you that it's trying to connect them. So that's it for now. As I was taking things apart, this is the connector that I added, and it wouldn't come off easily. So that concerned me. Forced it off, and it looks like it burnt. So apparently these connectors are not heavy duty enough. I'm going to replace this connector and see if that doesn't fix the problem. It probably will. That may be all that's wrong with this. So in your case, this will be a larger, more heavy-duty connection that gets hot apparently and melts the connector and makes it really brittle. Cooks it, I should say. Cooks it and makes it really brittle, and that'll be broke. You will have to either do what I did and put a connector like this or replace the connector. So let me fix this and I will be back. All right, this is a schematic of the cooling system for the Hyundai Entourage. The battery is here to assemble. That's what this is, battery. Supplying 12 volts. This is the relay that's down there that has the that I checked. I checked it and it tested out good, and I had my son turn the key on and off, and then we checked it that way, and I used a voltmeter. Didn't have to remove it from the car, so it checked out. That is going to supply the 12 volts from the battery to this unit here, which is the control module for cooling, the fan control module. Now you can see the wire that I added there. That connector that I have tape wrapped around, that's what destroys when you try to mess with it. And you can look in there and you can see it's melted. So pretty confident replacing that connector is going to work. Now I put a dual contact there thinking, wow, you know, it had a single before, but if I put two smaller ones, it's probably going to be okay. No, I'm going to replace this one with a 4 one now. Put 4 contacts. So hopefully that will be enough. It may not be, honestly, but hopefully it will be. So the rest of the schematic is this piece here is controlled by the ECU. It's the main relay. So when you turn the ignition on, this will energize and supply power all the time. And when I was testing it, this relay was on all the time. I mean, regardless of what the air conditioner was doing, regardless that the engine was cold, this was turned on all the time. So I was confused by that, but it must be right because that's what it's doing. So the 2 fans in the schematic are here. They plug directly into the control module. And that's about it. So in my situation, it either has to be wiring, it has to be this relay, or it has to be the control module. It could also be the fuse for all this mess, which is right here. This is the fuse, the 15 amp ECU number 2 fuse. All right, so this is the kit that I used to replace this to begin with. Underestimated the amount of current that those 2 fans draw. I mean, all the power for the fans come through this module, so it makes sense it's going to take some power. I should have just put the 4-1 in there. Now, it may not be enough, but this one lasted for years, you know, for several years. So surely doubling that would make it better. It'll make it better, but will it make it, you know, indestructible? I don't know. So anyway, that's what we're going to do here. Another option would be to put just generic blade type connectors. They're designed to handle a lot more current than this crap. These are more signal ones, I guess. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I should replace it with a blade type. Let me think about that. That'd be easier. All right, I'll be back. All right, so I found a 5-pin connector that would be even better than the 4-pin in this application, but I got to thinking about it. These are high current, you know, high power connections, and these are probably more for signal, and so that's why it failed. I mean, it worked fine for a good long time, but that's why it failed. So I'm thinking about, since I've already wired it up for 2 wires, using 2 of these. Now the problem, I guess the reason I didn't use this before is I don't have any insulated ones. I just have these that are open, and this has 12 volts on it, right? So if it touches the frame, it's going to short out. So I'm going to have to really wrap it with some black tape when I'm done, some electrical tape. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go this route instead of this route this time. It's less work, really, and it's going to be better. So let me get that done. I'll be back. All right, so here's a look at the control module with that electrical tape removed. You can see that I soldered the wires directly to the connector in there, that piece of metal. One of them came off when I was messing with it, so it must have gotten hot and damaged the solder connection. So I'm going to have to resolder that back on. And you can see it's a little burnt. Wire got a little dark, but the insulation is still there. It's still okay. I'm going to use it. And so that's where we're at. I'll be soldering that back on. Then I'll be soldering these connectors onto that. And then I got to solder the other half of the connectors onto the car harness. All right, so got that half done. Those are on there. Let's give it a little tug and pull, make sure everything's good and tight so it doesn't come loose. Seems like it is. All right, so next I'll put these connectors on the car harness and then I'll put it all back together. Okay, so I got the old connector off the harness here. Next step will be to bring the soldering iron out here and remove these, put on the new connectors, and we'll slap it back together. I got to remember to put black tape around this or electrical tape around this really well, because this is 5 or 12 volts. I keep saying 5 volts, I'm used to working on circuit boards. Sorry about that. Yeah, 12 volts. And if that touches ground with the ignition on, it's going to be a fuse being blown there. All right, I'll be back. All right, well, I got to thinking about it. I installed the outer type of connector for that blade connector on this unit that I can remove and put on my test bench. So I'm thinking cut a couple of pieces of shrink wrap and cover it over each terminal and heat it on there, tighten it up, and see if I can't get those connectors to connect, and that way these will insulate it instead of that black tape that may work itself off. So let me give that a shot, see if that's going to work for me. All right, so this is how the shrink wrap turned out after I heated it up. That's what it looks like without the connector in it, and a little bit of metal is showing, not too bad. And this is what it looks like with the terminal in it. So maybe I could add another piece of shrink wrap to the other piece, or is it even needed? I don't know. This is better than it was, though. Probably will still need black tape. Not sure. Once I get it mounted, I'll make a decision. So I've got the connector plugged in down there. It's kind of hanging free. I still think I'm going to put some black tape around it, though, just for safe measure. I got the control unit installed. Well, come on, focus. Control unit's installed. The associated relay is installed right there. I'm sorry about the angle on this. Let's try that. All right, so there's the relay there. There's a control module. I got the main wires plugged in. Now I got to plug in all the other connectors, and then I'm going to give her a shot and see if it works. Okay, I've got everything back together. Just started the engine, and I turned the AC on. And what you see, baby? Woo! Those fans are blowing, and they're blowing hard. Before, when they blew, they were a little weaker than that. I mean, they were blowing fine, but these are much more powerful now. So that was definitely the problem. Now the question is, how long will it last? Will it burn this connector up too? If you look down there, you can see I've went ahead and black taped them up, and this job is done. Well, almost. I got to put the beauty cover back on. But other than that, we are done. This is fixed. So hope this helps somebody. This is a common problem apparently. That one connector that supplies power to the fans and the control module it takes too much current for what it can handle, and the connector breaks and then makes a poor connection. So what I did was, of course, I replaced it with new external connectors. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody.